Alright, it is time to play Stranded Gaige. So, basically, the concept re-explained once again is, let's say you were playing BL2 with a couple friends, they decided, hey, let's rush you to the max level so you can, play with us. And then, people get bored, people stop playing video games with you, and then you're just kind of left on your own to kind of just fend and do whatever. So, we are playing at OP10 with no gear. We have a spec'd out skill tree here, which I'm pretty okay with. I think I've made a lot of decent decisions here. I'll go over a couple very basic ones. So I have a single point in Made of Sterner Stuff, and that is because on Gaige, it actually provides a 50% fire resistance. And then for every level after that, it's only an extra 4%. So I've just put a single point in it for that flat 50. And then I didn't feel like investing more after that, so I just put it in some cooldown. And then in our middle tree, I have avoided most of the shock skills, or the skills that would interrupt Deathtrap doing normal Deathtrap stuff. So, for example, we have not the stare, or 1-2 boom, or even shock and awe, because we might hit a barrel with that and blow ourselves up, which really sucks. And then we're not spec'd into the shock damage skill, because there's only one. It's 15% more damage, or 30% with the right class mod. And if we just look at a basic elemental damage chart here, versus flesh, it's 100% damage, but if we used fire, it'd be 175%. And then corrosive is also 175% against its appropriate target. So why would I not just use matching element? It's just one of those things. Shock gauge exists, but just using proper element matching is usually better for her. And then, of course, over here we have a couple of the very basic anarchy skills. I wish I had annoyed Android so Deathtrap can move faster. I am also taking advantage of him with Make It Sparkle and hopefully sharing his caring with a melee shield, so we'll see how that goes. And then I don't have Buck up because I don't want him randomly focusing an ad instead of me on accident, or just wasting his own time generally when he could be out dealing damage. And then once again with Explosive Clap, same idea. And then I don't have Ponent as a pony because health stacking on Gaige is a little bit rough sometimes because healing is kind of rough in this game. So that's the entire build. From here, we are just going to move into Lilith DLC like I would normally do. We'll grab a couple items, we'll get a little bit of money going, and then we'll roll into Snowman DLC, and then we'll roll into the base game. So let's get started. Now, one of the very first things I want to go ahead and test is how good is Deathtrap without much support? He's not. This is not really too much of a surprise. He is really heavily reliant on a melee shield and element matching to be able to actually help deal damage at OP10. And then the shock laser is actually pretty good at dealing with flying enemies, so that will be nice when that comes into effect. But he will largely be a distraction for our character until we can really get gear for him. Alright, we've got an amp shield. Now, you would think, hey, we're Gaige, cool, amp shield. But, unless it's a B shield, it's kind of hard to really take advantage of them because they just break, and then you have to wait, I don't know, like 5-6 seconds before you're able to even think about dealing bonus damage again. So it's basically like wearing a Tediore that hurts itself. Now, of course, that being said, we will probably be doing pretty standard Gaige gameplay, so we will be looking for a B shield whenever one is available. We'll probably go into Tina DLC, honestly, just to open it up a little bit, maybe get a couple items and just see what we can get. I think a true neutral Necro could be super fun when paired with the better half if we get a good roll of one. So that might be a thing we do. We'll kind of just see as we go. Fire Burst Nade. This will actually be super duper helpful for us because they deal a surprising amount of damage. Even if you are just kind of hiding behind it, it's super great. Melee shield for Deathtrap, and then also it's just kind of like okay capacity for us. Okay, we haven't gotten too many items, but I do want to go ahead and try to just poke my head into Snowman DLC and see what we can come up with. So we're going to mainly be using the Plasma Caster and the TMP here, alongside the melee shield, the Fire Burst, and then swapping to a spike shield for ourselves. So Hopefully this does something. I guess we'll kind of just have to see. So initially, lots of cowardice until we can get good equipment, send out Deathtrap, throw out as many fire nades as we can get away with. Probably have to repeat this process over and over again for a while. Interspersed Outburst will be really good for applying slag to enemies early, but of course there is the risk of it crashing the game, since, you know, that's just kind of a leftover thing we have to deal with because, haha, Gearbox, I guess. But it's okay, we'll just work around it. It would also be really helpful if we could get ourselves a fire gun so that we could apply fire to Deathtrap, so that he could actually, like, you know, deal matching melee bonus damage. Go ahead and abuse spam jumping a little bit here just to kind of get past a couple of the first basic mobs that we don't really need to kill. They're not worth any XP because we're level 80. They don't really drop items consistently, so they're not worth farming out. Just kind of break their AI, get them to run past you or get stuck in place, and then work towards the actual goal here, which is items. Right now, the plan is largely just throw out Fire Burst, wait for Interspersed Outburst to come back so that we can try to apply slag with it, and then if it doesn't, I'm sort of just waiting around for it to be ready again, which is not the most exciting gameplay, but when you have a TMP at OP10 and it's only green rarity, kinda just gotta do what you gotta do. So it's working. Not fast, but it works. We do have a fire gun, so now we can put fire on DT. Now he'll deal a pretty sizable amount more damage. Alright, summon, apply fire to the mans, and break eye contact so that they focus him and break his shield. And now he's just gonna start rolling dudes because he's secretly really good at that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. If you take a level 90, you give it an OP10 melee shield, and then you apply matching element bonus, he just starts hitting guys. Like, really hard. The only reason Deathtrap really isn't too useful is because he decides to shock laser a lot of enemies you'd rather him just hit, like every raid boss ever, and like everything. So if that weren't a problem, he'd be a lot better. But for basic mobbing, he's great. Alright, so the plan for Snowman simply is to let him knock us up here, or just climb this little wall up here once again. Pretty much the plan that it always is. And then just kind of do fire nade about it. You can pretty safely walk anywhere up here and just open all of the boxes. You can even walk all the way across the map if you want to, if you need more grenades from over there. And yeah, just as long as you don't get too close to that respawn station, the fight won't reset. So this is the entire plan. I just interspersed outburst myself and crashed the game. Oh, I am so stupid. Large target, shotgun. Literally the recipe to crash the game. Oh, okay. It's fine. We're good. Right, Snowman is down. We are gonna wait for those fire bursts to go away before even thinking about stepping down there. And there we go. Okay, cool. So first Snowman down, we can go check loot. Hopefully we get some good stuff. We'll just kind of have to see. We've got an apparatus. Those can be kind of fun. Nothing else really too interesting. I guess we can grab loot for money, of course, though. Alright, and for our first chest, see if we got anything interesting. Torg Shoddy can be kind of... That's a Tunguska. Well, that's money, I guess. That's... Sure. Better half, smaller, lighter, faster. Not a whole lot else going on. Okay. Alright, so out of that chest we got the Pounder, a Tunguska, new Anarchist, a Jericho, and just an Aggression Relic and a all trades. And this transfusion might be good too, and also a Turtle Shield, which doesn't put us at 1 health, so we could abuse this with Health Gate, so that could be kind of fun. We are going to do another Snowman though, because I'm not too confident about our gear, so just one more. There we go. Second kill is done. Alright, so we've got a Slag Sniper, which honestly it might be able to use. We've got a Snider. Pretty fun one. Hyperion Grip, though. Oh well. And then just probably a couple other items to sell. Alright, and from chest, there is a PBFG. I don't know if it'll do incredible, but it should do a good amount of work. And then beyond that, I'm not seeing anything crazy. So probably just a couple light upgrades. Okay, and with the second Snowman done, not very many upgrades at all, but we are going to go ahead and move into Tina DLC to get a mag size class mod with the better half, hopefully, and then a B shield. Finally, DT dropped his shield. Feels good. Possibly. Chaotic good. Chaotic evil. Well, the crit and fire rate could be pretty fun. We might hold on to that one, but we do need to keep farming. Chaotic evil with +6 to wires. Hey, true neutral with wires don't talk. Okay. Maybe we will have to put a couple points in here for a little bit of shock damage. But honestly, I'm just okay with it being max mag size, because that paired with the better half means we're going to have a 60% fire rate buff a lot of the time. So that's kind of fun for us.
Whoa, you can say the blood fruit grew on the tree.
Alright, let's see how well we can handle this. Deathtrap isn't really going to help, because he does just kind of shoot at them. So we're going to be dealing minimal damage at like all times against these guys, to the point where I'm actually really worried about being able to DPS them down at all. Oh, it just kind of see how it goes. Hey, there it is. And not a bad recharge delay. Hold on, let's have another look at that. 5.88. Yeah, cool. Alright, so now we just swap between a melee shield and the B shield. I guess we can go push the main story now. Since we're right here, let's go ahead and retest out our damage here. So earlier, absolute struggle fest. Now, even without a broken shield, Deathtrap can kind of play the game a little bit. Of course, he's still abusable by mobs, but now he can fight back. Super duper good.
That was close. No, it wasn't.
So starting out with a PBFG on Gaige is probably a little bit strong, but who am I to complain, you know? Alright, only problem with the Boom Boom fight is I don't think Deathtrap actually cares about trying to melee the cannon. Never mind, okay, sorry, I don't know. Here, let's go ahead and break eye contact with these guys. Hopefully they don't one-shot Deathtrap, and he's already killed one of them, and he killed the other one. Deathtrap. And he's killing birds. He got so bored, he wants more. I'm completely fine with this if it weren't for the fact that they're gonna just target me after he despawns. So this either might go well or horribly, and it all depends on whether or not DT can melee. He can do the melee, and he ran right through me. This is probably fine. There it is. Okay, yeah, we're fine. You typically grab typecast, but you are also not max level nor min-maxing your build. Yeah, because my build is kind of just lined up for the fact that we have trash gear. I'm sure if we had better gear, I could make a few tweaks here and there. But it's entirely just like we are going to be trash, so let's like try to balance it out. I guess I could have gone Annoyed Android instead of Pre-Shrunk, because when am I going to have this many stacks unless I like sit there and stack out on purpose? Which I'm not gonna, because you don't need to. Because you really don't need to. People have a weird obsession with pre-stacking on Gaige when you could just like walk forward most of the time. And like, yeah, Digipeak maybe, and like, yeah, raid bosses definitely. But beyond that, you don't need to do all that. No one 1/ needs to pre-stack. Exactly. Except maybe 1 life, and especially Digipeak 1 life. Or raids. Alright. Grabbed our Lasco. This with a B shield is kind of fun. And also, we don't risk accidentally changing Deathtrap's element. So now we can kind of help play the game a little more. Alright. Bad Maw. Go ahead and apply fire. And he almost killed the Maw. And the Maw is dead. What a surprise. Tank beats everything. Alright, so Warden, we are immediately going to trigger this fast travel and then save quit so that we can make sure we have the fight under control. Alright, and enter fight with Deathtrap with his melee shield. Try to see anything of my own. And then, please. Okay, cool. We do enough damage to interrupt his summoning. Okay, yeah, I mean, this should be locked in. Dancing Constructors isn't too terribly hard. You kind of just need to keep track of if an exploder is going to spawn right on top of you. But beyond that, it's just doing this. There we go. Alright, and with Roland back in Sanctuary, we are going to go ahead and call it a day here. Really kind of solid progress overall, I will say. The funny Tunguska is pretty funny, but we've actually sort of just been using what you see here. Pretty much just these items, and then that melee shield, of course. Deathtrap is doing a great job absolutely holding it down. Our build, of course, every build could be debated on what could or could not be changed, and I wish that we had points in Strength of 5 Gorillas for even more damage for DT, but this has been really good. So yeah, feels good, day one.